We'd like to call this meeting to order of the Economic Development Committee, February 28th, 2022, 6 p.m. Well past 6 p.m. All right. Election of committee for chair. Turn this over to Mr. Christopher Inglesi, County Administrator.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Reader, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. At this time, we'll open the floor for nominations for a chairman for the Economic Development Committee. Do I hear any nominations?
I nominate
Buddy Livingston.
Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none, there's a nomination for Mr. Livingston to be the chairman of the Economic Development Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, double tracks. No, thank you again for the opportunity to work with this. This is a great committee, and it's a great opportunity to help Newberry County and the team of people that we got, not only as a committee, but also as a council. It'll be great to work with to make this happen. All right, item number 3, any additions or deletions? I think this was sent out via email, and I don't know if I printed it off, but anybody got any additions or deletions? If not, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
All right, item number 4, approval of December 6 minutes. Anybody got any comments to those?
I make a motion that the minutes be accepted.
Oh,
with
I'm
any
sorry,
necessary
I'm sorry. I'm moving this thing too fast. Do we have a motion to accept, adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Reader?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right. Approval of December 6 meeting minutes. I don't forget how to be a chairman of anything, Miss Fellas. Approval of December 6 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by
Second.
Mr. Reader. All in favor, say aye.
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 Mr. Reader?
Aye.
All right, good. All right, no public comments tonight, or for nobody that signed up. I don't think there's anybody out there that wants to speak. Staff report, project activity. Mr. Farmer.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'll get right to it. You want me to do it either way? Can you switch over to the presentation? Yeah. Project activity continues to be high. It's been the last couple of quarters now. We've had a really solid flow of projects, including this quarter. We've seen 6 new projects in this quarter. We're competing for all of them, and there are actually more projects than that. But a lot of them we just had to take a pass on because we didn't have a site or a building that fit the project's needs. I'm waiting on him to give me remote control. Okay. Oh, I should turn it on. Also, several potential expansions in the works. We'll talk about a couple of those in executive session later. The road construction in Mid-Carolina Commerce Park is going strong. What you see there is an image I took on Thursday. That is a bottomless culvert. Wow. It is a it's a very large and very expensive piece of pipe. You could drive a truck through that thing. That thing will be covered with dirt, and that will become the base for a new bridge that crosses that creek in Mid-Carolina Commerce Park. The project is on time, and again, this will open up 7 to 8 new Class A sites in Mid-Carolina Commerce Park. So thank you for council for having the foresight to move forward with this project so we can compete in the future. This again shows, those red marks shows where this project starts and where this project ends. It doesn't complete that road, but it gets us across the creek, which was a critical element. If you have sites that are inaccessible, you really don't have sites, not in modern economic development. This was taken on Friday. This is the Day Young Construction. They've about topped out. As a matter of fact, by today, they might have finished topping out with their structure down at the Mid-Carolina Commerce Park. Weather delays are frustrating the company, and they've caused significant delays. Again, this is a $51 million, 224 job project. They'll start hiring in a few months. They hope to be up and running and occupying the building and in production by August. Capital project sales tax update. Of course, there are two economic development projects my department suggested that have been estimated. There's the Mawson's Way extension and the repairs. This is something that's been on the table since 2019. Actually, the repairs have been needed for longer than that, but the capital project sales tax could be a way of funding these critical infrastructure needs. There's also the elevated water tank for I-26 and SC 773. The costs on that were higher than I anticipated. Costs have gone up dramatically in the past year or two. So those are the two capital project sales tax economic development projects. In terms of prospect development, our Korea mission was moved from July to October, which suits me just fine. It's a lot cooler in Korea in October. I will be participating in this mission. I'll be representing not only Newberry County, but the Central SC Alliance as well. The good news about that is the Central SC Alliance will reimburse me for airline tickets and other expenses. South Carolina Auto Summit starts tomorrow in Greenville. This will be the first in-person summit in a couple of years now because of COVID. This is, reading through the participants list, it's like a who's who of automotive manufacturing in South Carolina. Tons of people from BMW, Mercedes, and Volvo, and tons of auto suppliers there as well. My primary target in this is not necessarily BMW and Mercedes and Volvo, but to make contacts with all of those suppliers. Now, all of them obviously have facilities in this area, but everybody's expanding. So I'm hoping to learn more about the industry and hook back up with some of these automotive contacts. On other, there's economic development strategic planning. This is something the administrator and I have been talking about for quite some time, so I will let him speak his mind on this issue.
Thank you. I passed out, Mr. Reader, you don't have the benefit of this, but I'll read it or I'll read portions of it. But what we're hoping to do is engage the committee in a discussion about a strategic planning process. Rick and I have been talking quite a bit about the need for a policy document that will give us some guidance and direction on how we should be spending county time and resources pursuing economic development in Newberry County. And what we would like to do is engage a professional to help us with a fairly intensive process that will result in a policy document adopted by council that will essentially be staff's marching orders on how and when and to what degree and what types and all of these unanswered questions that we have about economic development. And we have funding in this year's budget that we've identified so we have the ability to get the process started now. It would be a 9-month long to a year process. And what we'd like to do tonight is kind of talk about what the process looks like, because there's several options available, and because it's intensive, there's some different ways we can handle it. So I want some feedback from you all. What you have in front of you is 3 options for a process. All 3 of these options would engage a consultant in a 9 to 12 month intensive process with 10 or 12 meetings lasting several hours each. Probably not something that council can commit to given all of the other commitments that are on county council's plate. We could, under option one, go through a very staff-intensive process where staff drives the process. We would identify our own task force members to work with, our consultant and with staff, and we would bring this committee and council a product at the end of that process for your approval. Option two is a council-intensive process where county council would serve as the economic development task force, meet 9 or 12 times over the next year with several hour-long meetings, and we would travel throughout the county and get input from the municipalities, probably hold meetings in those chambers or other municipal forum venues, and council would work directly with our consultant and with staff through that process. Again, council's got a lot going on, as always, and that seems like a heavy lifting for council to be involved directly. The third option, which is the recommended option, would be that each council member get an appointment to a 7-member task force. This would be an ad hoc task force. And then that 7-member task force would be supplemented with 3 non-voting ex officio members appointed by administration. And then that community or citizen task force would work closely with staff and the consultant through the intensive strategic plan process. And then ultimately, this committee and council would approve the final product. So we're just hoping to get some agreement, some consensus on the process so that we can move forward and get the ball rolling.
All right, you've heard kind of the explanation there from Christopher. Anybody got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think the third one would be probably the most efficient one. And you also be able to involve citizens, the different citizens. I think that would be the best option.
Okay. Nick, you got any thoughts on it?
Would this just be a one-time, task force, I guess?
It'd be an ad hoc task force. We would probably bring a resolution or a motion to council to create it, and then at the end, it would naturally dissolve at the end of the work. So a year from now, they wouldn't exist.
Gotcha.
But I would say that a good strategic plan is updated from time to time.
Correct.
Every 5 years, every 3 years, it depends on what the community wants and what the council wants. But things change over time. We recruit industry far differently than we did just 10 years ago. So,
And staff recommends option 3?
Yes, sir.
What kind of cost is it going to be on the consultant?
you have 2 letters in your packets. One is from Creative Consulting. I believe they're out of North Carolina, Elkin, North Carolina. And the other is from Richard Kaplan and Associates. Now, these are just ideas here. No, there's been no formal agreements or anything. I just wanted to get an idea. What would something like this cost? And I was actually shocked when I reached out to the first couple of companies, which are big national planning firms, and the costs were quite significant, double and triple of some of the numbers in here. Both of these letters kind of outline the process, so what they would do, timelines, and of course, costs. One says it would cost about $45,000 to $65,000, and the other says $35,000 to $60,000. So they're pretty similar. Now, these groups are smaller and closer, and of course, being closer saves thousands of dollars because you don't have travel. You don't have somebody doesn't have to fly from California or something like that and then take up residence here during that, so you avoid those costs. So now I'm not preferring either one of these. You know, I imagine this would go through the purchasing department, and there would be like an RFP or an RFQ or something to that effect. But the bottom line is it would take 6 to 9 months and cost anywhere between $35,000 and $60,000. But there would be an end product deliverable, and it would be a thoughtful deliverable based on data and community input.
Well, again, you never know what you get, but at the same time, I know you made the comment, I was just looking at the mailing address of both of the ones that presented a scope of work or whatever, and both of them are, I guess you could say, regionally consistent with us, which would probably already be a better understanding than somebody coming from way, way off.
Agreed.
Obviously, they would have a little better idea of the local economic development and what we're for. All right, do you need a vote on that, or I guess we just,
Not really. We're just kind of looking for some consensus on if option 3, we still would bring to council this resolution establishing an ad hoc economic development task force. Stating that each council member would get an appointment, stating the expected timeline, stating the expected product, and the administration appointments as well. So we would bring that resolution unless there's some objection here. We're just looking for some consensus to move that forward and bring to council that resolution establishing that ad hoc task force.
I personally think it's worthy of at least presenting to the entire council and getting 7 people's opinions on it. Nick?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Travis, you okay with forwarding it on?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
You sure you don't want it to be
Vote?
option 2?
I'm positive. I was actually looking at, now, where would you get your individuals for the task force?
So council would each have an appointment. So we get 7 appointed voting task force members from each council member. The 3 ex officio that would come from administration, we would actually evaluate the appointments, and if there's, an industry that's underrepresented or there's something that's missing from those appointments that we want to make sure is at the table, like small business interest or minority business interest or something that's, to balance the representation on that task force, we would like to discuss that after seeing your appointments and be able to bring somebody from Newberry College, for example, or somebody from the State Economic Development Alliance if that representation is needed. So they would be ex officio, would not vote on the product, but would be there to assist the task force with any technical matters or any additional information or representation that the appointed members may not represent.
Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
That sounds good.
Move it forward.
Back to the presentation, please. Central SC invoice, a copy of that is in your packet. Of course, this is the same as it is every quarter. It's a request for an $18,000 payment, which is 1/4 of the annual payment of $72,000. That $72,000 was approved by council last year and is in the current budget. So we'd like a vote from the committee to send this to the full council for consideration.
All right, do we have a motion to move this forward to the entire council?
So moved.
Second by Mr.
Second?
Reader? All right.
Yeah.
Again, I talked with Rick recently, and he did say that this was a vital part to his operation right now, considering he's actually a one-man show. So, again, I think we're definitely getting our money out of that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Here are some of the existing industries. Of course, my ideal goal is to visit each industry in the community at least once per year. Now, that doesn't work out 100%. Some just never have the time for it, and others I visit 10 times a year, depending upon needs. But Georgia Pacific, West Fraser, these are all companies where a lot of things are happening at the same time. And we'll talk more in executive session about some specifically. In a couple of weeks, the South Carolina Power Team's Economic Development Review is once again in person. The conference, the two-day conference, will be in Hilton Head. This is, in my opinion, the best economic development conference of the year. It's very targeted South Carolina specific economic developers, and of course the co-ops and the power team do a great job of hosting it, and it's always a great time. So I'm really excited about being there for the first in-person economic development review in 2 years. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my open session report, and we have more details in executive session.
Okay, thanks, Rick. And again, thanks for all you do, because visiting, taking care of, and letting the existing industry know that we care about them and all only enhances our economic development atmosphere when it comes to them talking to other people, et cetera. So thanks for what you do there.
Yes, sir.
All right, we don't need any approval on any of those. Comments and discussion by committee members? Travis, you got anything to say right now?
Yeah, I just wanted to just say that I appreciate everything that's going on and how Newberry County is moving ahead 100%.
Absolutely.
I appreciate everything that's being done.
Absolutely. All right, with that, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, would have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, we're moving into executive session. County Council went to executive session. Would anybody like to report out?
Yeah, county council, met in executive session, no action was taken.
You don't need, I don't think, if that's been the practice, we could do it that way, but I don't think you need to do that. I think the chairman could declare executive session over. but-
Okay, so executive session is over. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Motion by Nick, second by Travis. You, okay?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we have adjourned. Thank you.